Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. The disaster declaration just in. The first tropical storm of the season slamming the U.S. coast. Also in the east, the life-threatening heat about to get worse, and severe storms now possible in the northeast. And the urgent manhunt right now across multiple states for a suspect wanted for at least 4 murders. First tonight, the images coming in at this hour. Tropical Storm Alberto now taking aim at the Gulf. The watches and warnings up right now. Communities already underwater tonight. Up to 10 inches of rain possible. Also tonight, this dangerous record-breaking heat where it gets worse by late week. And now this chance for severe weather in the northeast. Ginger Z standing by to track it all. Also tonight, the massive house explosion in Syracuse. 8 children among the victims rushed to the hospital. And tonight, what firefighters have now discovered. The urgent manhunt at this hour across multiple states for a suspect wanted for at least 4 homicides. The latest case, a man and a woman found dead at a business, a vehicle stolen. Overseas tonight, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un and their new pact. And closer to home tonight, off the U.S. coast, about 100 miles from Florida, the U.S. Navy tracking a Russian submarine. Martha Raddatz with late reporting. Here in the U.S. tonight, the case making national headlines, the plastic surgeon arrested in the death of his own wife. Authorities say he was operating on her, now accused of delaying his call to 911 and waiting to perform CPR on her. Tonight, Justin Timberlake's lawyer now responding to Timberlake's DWI charge in the Hamptons. What he's saying. The applesauce scare, the FDA accusing Dollar Tree stores of failing to immediately pull recalled applesauce, possibly contaminated with lead. What we know tonight. This evening, the images here, one of the world's most famous landmarks, vandalized. What's been done to Stonehenge? Tributes pouring in tonight for Hall of Famer Willie Mays, known for his power and for his grace on the field. Also, this country marking Juneteenth tonight, the powerful images here, and the very delicate rescue operation, the baby moose saved tonight, and that baby's very protective mother watching.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. We begin tonight with dangerous weather on multiple fronts, the life-threatening heat about to get worse in many parts of the east, and the potential now for severe storms in the northeast, damaging winds. But we start with Tropical Storm Alberto slamming the Gulf Coast right now, the first named storm of the hurricane season. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tonight declaring a disaster across more than 50 counties already. Activating the National Guard tonight, tropical storm warnings in effect for the coast of Texas. Bands of fierce and heavy rain already, many communities underwater. They are warning about the potential for dangerous storm surge and a significant flash flood risk. Double red flags as far as Alabama. Orange Beach right here closed to swimmers due to life-threatening rip currents and high surf. You can see it there. The coastal community of Surfside, Texas, already underwater tonight. Homes flooded. First responders making high water rescues. Strong winds and heavy rain from Alberto's outer edge already reaching Padre Island, Texas. Expected to last well into tomorrow. Ginger Z with the timing of the storm and the heat and where it gets worse by late week across multiple states in the east. But first, ABC's Melissa Adan leading us off in Corpus Christi, Texas tonight.
Tonight, Tropical Storm Alberto lashing the Texas coast, the first named storm of the season, pushing up to 4 feet of powerful storm surge over the seawall and into coastal communities along the Gulf of Mexico. A water spout spotted just offshore near Galveston.
Alberto slamming into the Texas Gulf Coast with these rough waves, heavy rain, and that storm surge sinking several boats at this Corpus Christi marina.
The bow of one boat and sail of another, all that's left above the water. Waterfront homes left battered. And beach towns like Surfside, Texas, underwater. This driver stranded in flooded streets, forced to abandon her car. But police were able to safely help the young women get to higher ground.
It's definitely worse than I expected, or I'd have been gone, you know. So I should have been more prepared.
Tonight, the Texas governor issuing a disaster declaration for 51 counties and activating the National Guard as the coast braces for up to 10 inches of rain, flash flooding, and possible tornadoes. With Tropical Storm Alberto now headed for landfall in Mexico overnight, officials here in Texas are urging residents to hunker down.
Stocked up on water, everything, and did all that. You know, we pretty much did everything we were able to do to take precautions. Bought extra batteries, lights, bought a couple of generators just in case.
And David, as you can see here, some parts of Corpus Christi impassable. And this as we wait for Alberto to move through. There is still a real threat of more flooding across South Texas. David.
Melissa Adan, amid the flooding there in Corpus Christi. Melissa, thank you. Of course, we're also tracking this dangerous heat for the Northeast, the Midwest. 70 million Americans across at least 15 states again tonight on alert, from Kentucky all the way to the Northeast to Maine. About to get worse in some places. Now this chance for severe storms in the Northeast as well. Damaging winds possible over the next 24 hours. More records falling today across the region. Caribou, Maine, tying its all-time record high temperature of 96 degrees today. Look at the heat dome there. And in the west at this hour, wildfires in New Mexico have now burned at least 1,400 homes and businesses, and the fires have now turned deadly. Ginger has the heat forecast, and ABC's Stephanie Ramos with the images tonight.
Tonight, the searing heat wave spreading deeper into the Northeast and Midwest with no relief in sight. In New York City, thousands flocking to beaches to escape the heat. Some forced to work under the blaring sun. Others doing what they can.
Just remaining cool, of course, hydration, staying inside when it's too high.
A record-breaking 98 degrees in Boston. Chicago seeing 4 straight days in the 90s. With no air conditioning, Silas Ratliff using his freezer to keep cool.
I usually get like a water bottle or something, most is frozen, just rub it on me. Try to get through.
In New Mexico, a flash flood emergency just issued as thunderstorms slammed the town of Ruidoso, still reeling from those deadly wildfires. Family members confirming the death of 60-year-old Patrick Pearson, a local musician. His family saying he had a broken leg and couldn't escape before the fire swept through. And late today, police confirming a second person has died. The scale of destruction staggering. At least 1,400 homes and businesses burned to the ground. 8,000 people evacuated.
We were engulfed in smoke. That scared me to death.
Frank and Connie Loya barely escaped.
I don't know whether we're going to have a home.
David, those fires are still burning out of control and spreading in New Mexico. Back here in the east, authorities are warning these life-threatening temperatures will intensify over the next few days. David.
Stephanie Ramos back with us tonight. Steph, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z tracking it all for us. Another busy night, Ginger.
Yes, David, you mentioned Caribou, Maine, America's most northeastern city. They not only tied their all-time hottest temperature at 96, but broke their all-time hottest heat index. It felt like 103, and that's where that air was focused today, right in interior New England, where we anticipated it. Some of the numbers tomorrow still have the excessive heat warnings for Manchester, 98, 91 for New York City. Philadelphia will go 93. Pittsburgh still in an excessive heat warning at 95. Now, parts of New England are going to break this with storms, but that comes with a hazard of damaging wind. We're talking in excess of 60 miles per hour. Much of it will be quite scattered in New Hampshire and Vermont. Worcester, Massachusetts, you're in the threat area, as is Syracuse. Then we have to talk about that dome of high pressure, because it's not that it goes away, but it actually backtracks and focuses, kind of laser focuses for the weekend on the mid-south and even back to the plains. You could see records fall from Oklahoma City at 102 to Washington, D.C. by the end of the weekend at 101. And that tropical storm warning is still up from the south side of Galveston Bay down to the Mexican border because of our first named storm, Alberto, which should make landfall by early tomorrow, and the rain should move out of most of South Texas by tomorrow as well, David.
Thank you, Ginger. Again tonight, we'll see you in the morning. We're learning more tonight after that horrific home explosion in Syracuse, New York. 13 people rushed to the hospital, including 8 children, and what firefighters have now discovered tonight. Here's Aaron Katersky.
Tonight, investigators in Syracuse are narrowing the cause of this house collapse that sent 12 people, including an 8-month-old, to the hospital to something inside the home that uses natural gas, maybe an appliance.
Whatever occurred happened in the house.
The collapse was likely caused by an explosion. Fire officials say when they arrived on scene there was a heavy odor of gas, but an inspection today found no problems with the equipment leading to the house. 12 people remain hospitalized, all of them stable, including young children who were critically hurt.
Certainly feeling some level of relief right now at the condition of the victims. Obviously at that age, everything is heightened in terms of concern and risk.
One large family of Burmese refugees was visiting another when the house collapsed.
It was an explosion, kids screaming, getting multiple calls of fire from residents, and building has collapsed.
Neighbors quickly ushering the occupants to safer spots.
It's a commendable effort, helped in ensuring some better outcomes for the people that were involved.
Investigators are picking through the debris tonight, David, focused on that home as they work to pinpoint a cause. David?
Aaron Katersky back with us tonight. Thanks, Aaron.